Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Morning Express Meditation. Hope everyone is well. So, last week, um, we started on the meditation series on karma, and if you recall, we were looking at the aspect that karma is certain, karma is definite. So all of our actions plant seeds of karma, and those seeds, when they meet the right causes and the conditions, then they ripen. So there's no karma created that does not um, come to fruition, or does not ripen, or does not present its result. So that's kind of what we were meditating on last week, and this week we're going to talk about a little bit about karma and its aspect where it increases. So over time, the karmic potential, or the karmic result, um, of that seed is increasing until it ripens. So we'll take a look at that, uh, and see if we can see some examples in our life of how that is coming to fruition. So we just begin by finding a comfortable position, relaxing our body, relaxing our mind, bringing our attention into this space. And making an effort to bring our mind inside. The work of the mind is internal work. So to help us bring our attention, our mind inside, we can bring our attention to our breath. In particular, our lungs. You can think we have these lungs that are doing most of the breathing for us. And that with each inhale and exhale, the lungs are expanding and contracting. So let's just watch them for about a minute. And now we bring to mind our motivation. Why are we meditating? Why do we choose to meditate? Why did we come to this session today? And we probably all have similar or maybe some different ideas of what's motivating us. And within our Mahayana tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, we have this, you know, many aspects where we have like the becoming a better person, developing a warm heart, developing the bodhicitta attitude. So the attitude to develop our own minds, not just for our own sake, but for the sake of all the beings around us. So we can think that um, we're doing this meditation for all the people, but all the living beings, animals, insects, etc., that cannot meditate. We'll do this on their behalf. And so, karma. Last week we were talking about, what is karma? Karma's action. And karma is a law of cause and effect, a law of actions. And these actions are certain. That's what we said. We said they're certain. So every action has a certain result. And the result will occur when its time is uh, when its time has come, when the causes and the conditions are there, then the result will arise. Just like planting the acorn in the soil, with the soil and the sun and the water, the tree grows. And it's a slow process, so that effect, it is certain, but it's not immediate. So I think in the terms of karma, we have these three ways we can create karma. Um, physical, verbal, mental. And the physical ones we more or less have under control. We don't typically go around beating people, so we're not too concerned with that. Um, but the verbal and the mental, those actions, those are the ones we need to observe and make sure we don't cause too much harm. So that's a little context. Um, so now we look at this aspect that karma has this increasing factor. So there can be a great result from a small cause. And that's because the energy of the karma continuously increases. So we can say that a small negative action will bring a disproportionately great amount of suffering and misery if it's not purified. So the actions, the karma is increasing unless it's met with an opponent force, opponent power, and purified. In the same way, you can say that the seemingly um, insignificant positive karma, it'll bring a great deal of joy and happiness. As long as it's not opposed by a negative state of mind. And so if we use our example of the acorn being planted and watered and sun and soil, it's a tiny little acorn and it grows into this massive oak tree with large branches and countless leaves. So we don't think about it every day, the acorn and the oak tree. But when we do think about it, it is clear. A small little seed has the potential to have this great result. And there's a Tibetan story, another example that tells of a monk, and the monk criticized his friends by calling them monkeys. And the monk was reborn as a monkey for 500 lifetimes. So this is where the karma becomes more subtle, is we have the verbal action, action of words, speech. And it seems, right? We probably all remember this from grade school, a little name calling. It seems that it's so insignificant to call others names, to criticize. But this is the increasing power of the karma. Is exactly what we're talking about. This seemingly subtle, meaningless, insignificant verbal action. But if we understand this, we can bring this into our grasp. Then we can avoid inflicting any negative harm on the others through the act of our speech. But we also don't create any negative karma for ourselves. And so um, this increase is it's happening uh, day by day. And so we're in particular focused and concerned with the negative karma that uh, that negative action, say the name calling, once that action is completed, then the increasing begins. And the only way it gets so there's two ways it gets stopped, right? It ripens, and the result is uh, um, comes to flourish, or it's purified. Right? Those are the two alternatives. The seed is planted, it ripens, the effect comes, or we purify it. So knowing this, that's why doing purification, doing the purification on a daily basis becomes so important, so that the increase doesn't uh, it doesn't increase, doesn't get bigger. It stays small and becomes uh, purified, eliminated. So maybe you can think of something that um, in your life where you did something negatively and it was pretty subtle, but then time passed and it became quite a big deal later on. So for me, I like to think about lying. I told a little white lie, thinking nothing of it. No one will ever find out. And then maybe a week passes, maybe a month, maybe a year, and someone, normally a friend, right, figures out something's not right, and then they confront you about it. So we can see how this little verbal action of a lie, telling a non-truth, it's small, but then it gets big. It can even destroy friendships, destroy communities. And it's painful for oneself, right? We have, we we suffer through it. After all, it's our karma, so we have to bear the result. And then I remember some years ago taking lay vows. And one of the lay vows is not to lie. And I remember the relief of taking this vow and knowing that I wasn't going to lie anymore. Like how there was a freedom in this. It wasn't the vow becoming a restriction. It was a freedom. Oh, no lies, no pain, no suffering. Just tell the truth. So now having this appreciation and having this lens of the karmic increase, just by knowing this, we can become more cognizant of our actions. That's what it's all about, right? Bringing it into our daily life. And it's not a form of punishment, but just an awareness that these small actions, they have a big result. So we can dedicate all the positive merit that we developed during this meditation, contemplating karma, the increase of karma. And we can dedicate it to all those that do not meditate, cannot meditate, especially those that cannot meditate. May their suffering of samsara come to an end swiftly. May it never recur. May all the sufferings never ripen. May they be immediately purified. And may they become swiftly enlightened. Thank you, everyone.